Alright, and welcome back. This is the video for the offset gatefold card. You've probably seen many gatefold cards oriented this way, and they open up equally from the left and the right. If you do them in a landscape format, you have a little bit more wiggle room to be able to change your dimensions and do them in an offset, so one side is larger than the other. All right, this is a fun card, and this is going to introduce a new element from the die set. There is a leafy green piece that you can get as a die cut, and we're going to use the large flower, and we're going to put that on as well to make a focal point. And we're going to play with layering some of the mix and match font sentiments from the stamp set. All right, you're looking for the envelope that has the shaded spruce pieces in it. Is the easiest way to find it. You're going to find a thick white card base. Now this has probably already been folded for you just to fit it down in your envelope, but you're going to want to burnish that fold with your bone folder regardless. You're going to find a white matte layer for the inside of your card. You're going to find some shaded spruce pieces. The largest piece is a matte layer for the inside of the card. So these two pieces will go together, and I'll show you. They go on the inside of your card like that. Then you're going to find two more pieces that will be the layers for the front of your card. Okay, you're going to have a white tag. You should find that shaded spruce die cut, and then in one of your other card packets, I believe it is this one that has a balmy blue colored card base in it, there is a scrap of white paper, and both of these cards have these large flowers that we've just sort of fussy cut out, and you're going to use this scrap of paper to stamp those flowers, and we're going to need one for here. So in the other video, you will notice I mentioned that we stamped that 5 times, or 6 or 7, whatever you can fit on your scrap, and you're going to be using one of those here. So I'm just going to set up to do the stamping first, and then we'll go and we'll source our designer paper and do the cutting of the designer paper. So I want to bring in my mat, and one of my stamps was stuck to the back. I'm going to be using the large thanks here, the 4 with the line on it, and then all the wonderful things you do down here happens to be all together in one line instead of trying to piece 2 or 3 of them together. And I'm going to use my grid paper that I have here to help line that all up before I pick it up on the block. So the 4 with the line is the fussiest little one because it wants to fall over. Doesn't have enough in it to stand up, so it kind of wobbles over. But I'm lining my line up with my grid paper, and I'm centering it, and then I can line up my all the wonderful things you do, and then I can put my thanks over top of that where it looks good. Has to be fairly tight to fit this tag, so then I'm just gonna measure. No, I got to be a little bit tighter than that. I'll bring in my poker to see if I tip up my 4. Can I maybe get my thanks to prop it up, and then I can get it tighter? Yes, there we go. That's what I'm going to do. It kind of nests right in there. There's a couple of little bumps. There we go. And then I'm just going to pick that all up on one big block. All right. Now I can do my stamping, and we're using Night of Navy ink, for everything. That all inked up. And then that's just going to go right on my tag, but to the right a little bit because the flower is going to kind of come up the left side. There we go. And then I need the open flower, not the fill pattern, the one that is the open, and just going to stamp one flower. There we go. That's it. And I'll leave you to decide what you want to do on the inside of your card, and you can do that on your white layer for inside. Okay, let's do some cutting. I know fussy cutting isn't everybody's thing, but these are fairly easy shapes to do. And with this flower, I did leave a little tiny little white border around it just so that it shows up against that really busy designer paper background. On the other card I didn't. I cut it quite close. To the edge. There is a die in the die set that does cut these out, but since you all don't have the dies necessarily, and I want you to craft along, I will also fussy cut. There we go. Okay, then we need to grab our designer paper. So in your pile of designer paper, we're looking for the yellow polka dots. That should be easy to find. There's that pretty paper on the other side, and we're going to use some of that in another card, so don't go too crazy with the polka dots. And then we're looking for the bright flowers on the dark shaded spruce background, and that's a blue sort of a basket weave on the other side. Okay, now we need a paper trimmer. Myself a little bit of room here. We'll do the polka dot piece first. I need my measurements here. Or rather, I need a ruler to measure. This piece is 1 1/4. I knew it was, I just wanted to double check and make sure. So 1 1/4 from the yellow polka dots. And then from the flowered piece, we need one that is 3 1/4. And you'll have that piece left over. Then we need to trim both of those down to 3. Sorry, the matte layer would be 4. 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 and 3 3/4. And you have these pieces left over for something else. Oh, and did we have a piece on the inside? Yes, we did. We had another little 3/4 inch strip for the inside from our polka dot piece. Three 3/4. There we go. All right, that's all the trimming done. Now we can get to assembly. So let's do our inside layer first. got our big green mat and our white piece. Those go together with a 1/4 inch gap around the outside. And then our skinny little piece of yellow polka dot goes on the left edge. Oops, just like that. And then this whole thing is going to go inside our card. There we go. I'm sorry, there was a long pause of silence there because I just realized I hope I grabbed the wrong card base from my pile of supplies. I say I hope because I hope I remembered to score everybody's card bases correctly. You will notice this is not a gatefold card base. My deepest apologies if I did score everybody's in the middle. I did not intend to do that. I don't think I did. I think I just, when I grabbed my supplies this morning to do this video, I grabbed the wrong one for me. So we're going to pivot and I will get a new card base and redo this part of the video for you. So I'm glad you're patient with me. Yeah, let me just go grab a new piece of cardstock, and I hate to do this because I know it's probably gonna, yeah, I'm gonna cut all new pieces of this as well. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm back with some additional pieces, and let's do this over again. So like I say, I am pretty confident that your bases were scored in the correct places, but just in case, you have to grab a new piece of white cardstock. It is 11 inches wide by 4 1/4. We're scoring at 3 3/4 and 9 1/4. So 3 3/4 and 9 1/4. Alrighty. So then, if we fold it up, we have a skinny little one on the left, or right rather. See, now I don't know my right from my left. And a wider one on the other side. There we go. Okay, let's layer up our insides again. There are no mistakes in crafting, just reasons to cut up some more paper. This is one you cannot fix by adding an embellishment. Happens to the best of us. All right. It was funny because as I was gluing it down, I was looking at my sample up above and I'm going, what's going on here? Why don't I have a flap? And there, now I do have a flap. Okay, I am not going to cut another piece of this polka dotted paper to put on the inside simply because I need the rest of that sheet in order to do another card, and I used up all my other pieces in making up the samples. Okay, so the other two matte layers can go on the front. So this one will go on the small flap. that. And this one will go on the big flap, like that. Close this up again so we can see our sample. Just gonna smooth those down. And then our designer paper pieces can go on. You guessed it, the small one on the small one and the large one on the large one. There we go. Okay, now all of our little pieces here for flower and whatnot. The first thing we're going to do is shorten up our green stem. So I'm going to go about halfway up this midsection right here and snip that off because it's too tall for the card otherwise. And then I'm going to, let me see, how did we do this? Yeah. So this is going to go on the side of the tag, and I need a little bit of glue along this large broadleaf here at the bottom and this one here. So just on the back side of those two leaves, just dab of glue, and they stick to the side of the tag like that. Okay, then we can put some dimensionals on. So you'll notice I flipped it top to bottom, so I'm keeping it lined up with my card. Okay, and if you want to, you can take a pencil and draw a line, but we're going to put dimensionals on the half closest to our greenery, our stem. So I'm just imagining the line in my mind, and I'm sticking to the left side of that. So 5 should be good. And then I'm looking for my gap between the two sections, and I'm just lining this up. Actually going to go a little bit further than center. Yep, that's what I did there. I left about 1/4 of an inch gap from the point of the tag to the designer paper. Then I want a nice big chunky piece of dimensional. I do have one here for the back of my flower. And the flower is just going to go like that, and that sticks down that end of the greenery. Then this piece of greenery, I need a tiny little sliver off the end of my dimensionals. So I just go to one end, cut a little sliver off. This is where it can get tricky. Tweezers again are helpful. Okay. Got it all coming off here now. Okay, and that's going to go up the side there. And just another tiny little one. piece of paper to come off. There we go. There. Okay. Oh yes, and then you have to snip off the little stem. We just want the 2 leaves, is what we want. We're not going to throw those away. And we just kind of stick those over top of the other ones a little bit here. Just give us a little more of a 3D effect. Okay, don't need any glue anymore. Now we need a little piece of ribbon to tie a knot. And I'm not cutting it off until I get it tied because you want to have a little bit to hold on to do this. So I'm just tying a knot in the middle. And then we will attach that with a glue dot. On the back side, like that, and he just goes over top of the bottom part of the stem and sticks that down. There we go. We need some bling. So let's bring in our gems. And I think I used the sort of, they're not quite pink, they're milky dots. And I put a big one on the flower, and I put a couple of small ones over here on the edge of my tag. Just like that. There we go. Very similar. Isn't that amazing that it came out correctly? And if you happen to have this in your kit, my deepest apologies to you. You can still make a lovely card out of it, and you can still glue down the green layers and the yellow layers. It's just gonna, it's still gonna have this look to it, but it's gonna open up like this, and you're just gonna have to stick your tag on the front in the center. But I'm pretty sure that I did score your pieces correct in your kit. It was just my pieces I grabbed this morning that were wrong. So there we are. I hope you enjoy that. Let's move on to the next project.